Well, welcome everybody to Downtown Harbor Church. If it's your first time here, my name is John, lead pastor. Appreciate you guys coming on out. Today we are in week 2 of this series that we're calling Heart of the Matter. If you weren't here last week, the premise of this series comes from this idea that Jesus loved to ask questions. Loved it, right? It was his favorite thing to do. And in fact, over the course of his ministry, we know that Jesus asked 307 questions. In fact, his very first speaking line in the Bible is when he asked his parents, "Why are you looking for me?" And in his final dying moments, he asked of God, my God, why have you forsaken me?" His entire life bookended by questions. He asked 307, he was asked 183, which honestly seems low because I feel like I've asked him that many questions so far today. But, right, here's the other thing. Out of the 183 questions that were asked of Jesus, he answered fewer than 10. In fact, some theologians make the argument that he only answered 3. Why is this so important? Well, we believe that Jesus is God, and as God, he clearly knows everything, and yet, based on what we see here, Jesus must believe that we can learn more from his questions than we can from his answers. And so Jesus would just ask these very pointed questions to get to the heart of the matter, right? He would ask these poignant questions at times that would just allow us to wade past all the noise in our lives and just get to the issue. His questions brought clarity. They would bring conviction at times. They often brought healing. And today we're going to see Jesus ask an amazing question. Here's the question he's going to ask. Do you want to get well? Now, as we watch this story unfold, this question is almost going to seem ignorant at first, like when you hear him ask it. It's going to seem insensitive based on the situation, maybe even naive. But as we peel back the layers of this story and of this question, we are going to see the brilliance of it. We're going to see how Jesus uses this question to cut to the heart of the matter. Now, as we listen to this story, I want to challenge you guys today to filter this story through the lens of really any ongoing problem that you might have in your life. Maybe it's a medical issue that just is lingering. Maybe you're struggling with depression or anxiety. Maybe you are struggling with overspending, or kind of overcommitting, or maybe it's an addiction issue. Maybe it's a long-term marital problem, or just relationship issues that you have with siblings or parents. Whatever the problem might be, I want you to filter today through the lens of that problem. And my prayer all week and today is that because of Jesus, you might actually find some healing in that area. Now, our story opens up in John chapter 5, it kind of just hits the ground running. It says this: afterward, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy days. Inside the city, near the sheep gate, was the pool of Bethesda with 5 covered porches. Now, archaeologists have since found this pool. They have uncovered it, they've excavated it. Here's a picture of what the pool actually looked like. What you're seeing here is steps and kind of like a landing area. John is going to call that area porches. So when he talks about porches, that's what he's talking about. So let's see him talk about it. Next verse. Crowds of sick people, blind, lame, or paralyzed, lay on those porches, okay? Luxuriating there. Let's pause. Why are they laying around this pool? This is actually really interesting. In fact, it's in my opinion at least, one of the strangest parts in the entire New Testament. And the answer as to why these people are laying around this pool is found in the very next verse, verse 4. But if you go look in your Bible, you're not going to find verse 4. Why? Was all kinds of theological sort of speculation as to why it's not there. One article entitled, "Who Took Verse 4 out of My Bible?" Okay, explains that verse 4 is not original to the Bible, meaning John didn't write it. Some of the oldest and best manuscripts that we have do not include verse 4. And when you do find it, what you'll find is like an asterisk that the scribe put next to it, kind of letting us know, hey, just so you know, John didn't write this. John didn't put this in here. He left it out for a reason. And scholars believe that John left verse 4 out of the Bible because he didn't want to perpetuate the, superstition that surrounded this pool. So let me show you what verse 4 says. From time to time, an angel of the Lord would come down and stir up the waters. And the first one into the pool after each such disturbance would be cured of whatever disease they had. So people clearly believed that this pool had supernatural curative properties. And when the water moved, they believed the first one into the water would be healed. Now, if you watch the show The Chosen, they actually show this scene. Here's a picture from the show. Looks like my 3-year-old getting into the pool. Um, Archaeologists have now discovered why this water would randomly move. It turns out this pool was filled by a natural spring, and sometimes the earth would just release more water than usual, and it would cause the movement, okay? So you've got potentially hundreds of people would be laying around this water, hoping to get in, hoping to be healed. John says that one of the men lying there had been sick for 38 years. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be sick for 38 years. I hurt my shoulder this week. It hurt for like 4 days. I was ready for the Lord to take me home. Okay. It was just like, it's enough. Let's end this. But for 38 years, this man struggled. That could have been his whole life, honestly. Now, watch what happens. Jesus, it says, when he saw him and knew he had been ill for a long time, let's pause. I don't want to miss this. Jesus looked at this man and knew his story. He knew. It's been 38 years for this man. Now, I don't know what you're struggling with, okay, what this ongoing long-term problem might be. But this right here lets us know that Jesus knows our situation. Without even being told, Jesus knows what's going on in our lives. And you see this all throughout the gospel. Jesus just knows the intimate details of our lives. He knows our thoughts. He knows our concerns. He knows our fears. He knows every ache, every pain, every doubt. Every diagnosis is known by Jesus. He knows you through and through. And he looks at us with love and compassion. For 38 years, I bet you this man wondered, does God even know? Is he even aware of my situation? How many of you right now, come on, who have been struggling for a long time, have wondered this exact same thing? Is God even aware of what I'm going through? Scripture answers with a resounding yes. Jesus knows exactly what you're going through, and Jesus knows exactly what you need. Just like Jesus knows exactly what this man was going through, and Jesus knew exactly what this man needed, but look at the question that Jesus asked this man. Do you want to get well? Now, let's be honest. That looks like a dumb question, right? I mean, why? It's an insulting question. I mean, it's not, I mean, clearly this man wants to get well, right? It's not like he's sitting around trying to get a tan. But clearly, Jesus knows something. And so, to get to the heart of the matter, Jesus asked, do you want to get well? Now look at this man's response. I can't, sir, the sick man said, for I have no one to put me into the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always gets there ahead of me. Now that's an interesting response. Hearing this, Jesus tells him, stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. For 38 years, this man has been lame or paralyzed, and Jesus says, stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. Instantly, the man was healed. He rolled his sleeping mat up, and he began walking. For 38 years, this guy suffered. And one moment in the presence of Jesus changed everything. Now, when I look at this story, and I look at our stories and what we're dealing with, I see a number of challenges that we deal with when it comes to these long-term problems that we may have in our life. The first thing I see is this: the longer a problem persists, the more discouraged you become. Isn't it true? You have this issue that won't go away. And maybe you prayed a while and nothing happened. And so you stop praying about it. Or maybe you bought a book about the issue, or you tried a couple of remedies, nothing. And so you get super discouraged, you get depressed, you kind of give up on your situation. There's just no hope of changing it. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. And you resign yourself to it. Additionally, the longer a problem persists, the more excuses you make. Because let's be honest, if you can blame somebody else or blame something, you're just going to feel a little bit better about the whole thing. That's what this guy did. Look what he says. I can't, sir, sick man said, for I have no one to put me into the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always gets there ahead of me. Now, I do want to be sensitive because this man has a real issue, but he still has excuses, rationalizing why he's living this way. I can't, no one's going to help me. Someone gets there ahead of me. We're no different. So let me ask you a question that you're going to hate. What excuses are you leaning on to justify living in your problem? And I know this stings, but this is why we're here, okay? What's your excuse? Well, I grew up in a dysfunctional family, okay? I've been overlooked, underappreciated, misunderstood. I can't get a good job because I don't have a degree or the right degree, okay? I tried therapy once, didn't work. I tried church, went 3 weeks in a row, nothing. The longer a problem persists, the more excuses we make. And the last thing is, the longer a problem persists, the more you tend to compensate. Some of you right now are excelling in compensating for an issue in your life. For example, and I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but some of you might be highly functioning alcoholics. And you know it's true. And it puts a stress on your marriage. It's a challenge to your children, but professionally, you're highly functioning. I mean, you are killing it at work. Your coworkers have no idea you're a drinker. And even if they do, they turn a blind eye because you figured out how to manage it, to compensate for it, even though you got a serious problem. Some of you might be living in a lifeless marriage, and you've learned how to just exist in this relationship, right? You don't like it, but you accept it. It is what it is, right? There's no intimacy. You have no spiritual connection. It's more of a business relationship. We're going to stay together for the kids, right? We don't like it. It's fine. It's not fine. Some of you are living with depression or anxiety. Actually, you're not living, you're surviving. And maybe nobody even knows. And you don't get a moment's peace. And it's affecting your job and your relationships, and you're just not the person you used to be. But you have found a way to white knuckle it through the day, only to collapse into your bed at night. Or lastly, and this is a big one down here in South Florida, maybe some of you, you found a way to compensate for your overspending. People look at your life and they look at your Instagram posts and they think, wow, you got going on. Little do they know you are living paycheck to paycheck with debt up to your eyeballs. But somehow you have mastered how to max out this credit card and then shift your debt to that card and leverage this to pay that. You've learned to compensate for your problem. Whatever the issue might be in your life, the reality is you cannot change what you are willing to tolerate. And tolerate is the key. Because in every single one of the examples I have just given, I am sure that every single one of those individuals knows they need help. You know you need help with your drinking. You know this. You know you need help with your marriage. You know you need help with your finances. But as long as you're willing to tolerate the problem, to give it space, to compensate for it, to make excuses for it, you're not going to be able to change it. Which is precisely why Jesus asked this man, do you want to be made well? Why would he ask him this? Because sometimes people don't want help. Sometimes people just want to be left alone in their problem. Sometimes folks don't want to be helped out of their weaknesses. Psychologists will tell you that sometimes people find what's called a secondary gain from these issues in their life. They hold on to them. It's precisely why Jesus' question gets to the heart of the matter. That's why it cuts right to our core, because he knows you cannot help someone who does not want to be helped. Jesus knows it doesn't matter if somebody needs help. They got to want help. They got to reach a place in their life where they won't tolerate or compensate for it any longer. See, this man, like so many of us, has become what I'll call a prisoner to the familiar. You don't understand. It's been 38 years. I've tried everything. I don't like it, but I've learned to manage it. Or I'm just a below average student. I always have been, always will be. Or here's one I hear, unfortunately. You know, you knew I was like this when you married me. It's just who I am. Hmm. You don't understand. I've tried to break this addiction. I just can't, right? The bottom line is until your desire to be healed becomes bigger than your problem, you're not going to find healing. And I truly believe that God today would ask someone here in this audience, do you really want to be made well? Because some of you are compensating and making excuses and you're discouraged, but you are just simply used to living in it. And God is saying, come on, come on. Do you really want to be made well? Do you really want to get out of credit card debt? Because you say you do, but your actions say otherwise. Do you really want to overcome addiction? Do you really want to find healing in that marriage? Because I can't help someone, he would say, who just needs help. I can only help someone who wants help. And so Jesus looks at this man and says, stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. And instantly, the man was healed. He rolled his sleeping mat and began walking. I love that it says instantly, at once, right? 38 years, this man suffered, and Jesus speaks, and cells are repaired. That's the power of our God. He speaks, and storms are silenced. He speaks, and demons are vanquished. He spoke, and the entire world and universe came into existence. Let me say a couple of things about this supernatural healing because there's actually a couple of things that we can learn from this. First thing, and we can miss this if you're not paying attention, the man actually never asked Jesus to heal him. Did you pick up on that? I think this speaks to the compassion and the generosity of our God. Because when you enter into a relationship with Jesus, he will work in your life in ways that you never expected or even asked. He'll bring healing into areas of your life you didn't even know needed healing. He'll change your thought patterns. He'll bring forgiveness into your heart. Because he loves you, he will do things for you that you never even asked. Second thing I noticed, the man never did anything to earn the healing. Jesus just freely offered it to him. Jesus did not heal this man because the man was good. Jesus healed this man because Jesus is good. That's grace. Can't earn it. He freely gives us these blessings because of his goodness, because of his grace, and for his own glory. And third, and I think this is important for someone here today, the healing did not come in the form that this man expected. See, for 38 years, he thought, if I can just get into that water, then I'll be healed. And yet, ultimately, healing did not come from that water. And maybe for someone here today, you have been searching for healing in a particular way. You've been searching for the water, right? Whatever it is. I'm just here to tell you, healing might not come through that water, but through Jesus, who is looking to do something in your life in a way that you never expected. Jesus said, stand up, pick up your mat, and walk. In other words, I don't want to hear your excuses. I want to see your faith. Don't tell me what you can't do, have been unable to do, what others won't or can't do for you. I'm going to see you stand up, pick up that mat, and walk. Now, here's the key to all this. And it's implied, it's never stated, but Jesus will do for you what you cannot do. But it's important. He wants you to do what only you can do. In other words, I will touch you, he would say. I will empower you. I will heal you. But you have to stand. I need you to have the courage and the faith to step away from the familiar. I don't know who you are today or what's been going on in your life, but I really believe that for someone here today, this is your God moment. And maybe you've been dancing around this issue for years, discouraged, compensating, making excuses. But I think today God is asking you, do you want to be made well? Do you really want my divine help? You want to overcome this addiction? Do you want to be free from, this anger that destroys every relationship you touch? Do you want to overcome your inability to trust people? Do you believe that God can heal you? Do you want to be made well? So what's practical? What do you do with a message like this? It's your first time here at Downtown Harbor Church. Every single week we put this word on the screen because we want to make sure you can leave on a Sunday and know exactly what to do with what you've heard. Now, at the top of the message, I asked you to think about that ongoing problem in your life. And for some of you, it didn't take long to think of it because you never stop thinking about it. And this week, what I would love for you to do is through prayer and reflection, I want to challenge you to ask God to clarify for you whether you need help or want help. And maybe today, before today, I should say that you never realized that there was a difference between these two, right? But being able to make the distinction, I believe, is the key to healing. Let me tell you what needing help looks like. It's recognizing there's an issue and you try to solve it yourself with a podcast or books or Google or this or that. Needing help looks like saying, I really gotta a lot. I really gotta do this. I really gotta do that. I really don't. You recognize you need help, but you're trying to solve the problem by finding that water, whatever that water might be. You know what else needing help looks like? Half-hearted prayer. You know why I call it half-hearted prayer? It's because you know you need help. And so you bring your issue to the Lord. And perhaps he even shows you the way, spotlights the problem, offers a solution. But you don't stand up. You don't pick up your mat. You don't walk. You don't call the doctor. You don't put down the bottle. You don't cut up the credit card. You don't get marriage counseling. You're praying. Maybe even you're listening, but you're not submitting. And so you just continue to be a prisoner to the familiar. Today, I believe that God is asking you, do you want to be made well? Do you really want my help? I don't know what you're dealing with today, but as I've said, I think it's somebody's God moment. And so I just want to challenge you to invite God into your situation. I don't care how long you've been down, because with the power of Jesus, you are not out. I don't care how long you have been in bondage to something, because with the power and the presence of Jesus, you can be set free. That which you may have given up on years ago is still possible because of Jesus. I don't care if it's been 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades. A moment in the presence of Jesus can change everything. Let me pray for you.